Welcome to another Secret Influence TV interview. Today, I'm very excited to be talking to Jessica Bradenfield, who's a trainer, speaker, and therapist. And one of her areas is training Generation Z talent to adapt to conflict with a can-do mindset. So welcome, Jessica.
Thank you. Happy to be here on the Secret Influencer TV. Sounds exciting.
Excellent. Well, the first question is, perhaps can you tell us a bit about your background and how you became, or how you got started in doing what you do?
I studied to become a teacher about 20 years ago, and then I lived around the world trying to get away from the snow in Canada, and ended up learning lots of cool things about human psychology and became a therapist. And when I settled in Barcelona, naturally I started training companies because they got all the skills I don't have, but they don't have the great communication skills. So that's how I got my foot into the corporate world.
And who are Generation Z? Generation Z.
Gen Z are the young people that we don't understand who say strange words and wear clothes with holes in them to work. They're
so
under 24.
Sorry. So yeah. So on your you talk about helping Generation Z to adapt to conflict, what can-do mindset. What are some of the unique challenges that Generation Z individuals face when dealing with conflicts?
They didn't grow up the way we did, so they have more hope still, or they don't know how the system works, and so they're not accepting the system that we are giving to them on a platter and saying, eat up. They're saying, no, you're going to be using pronouns, you're going to be using psychological safety, and if you don't have meaning in my work, then I'm going to leave. And they're just, they're ballsy, if we can say that, stuff that people of me and your age, we didn't dare say, and they're saying it, and it's causing a lot of conflict with the older guys.
Would you say that there's less a move away from just accepting the way things are, the status quo, and there's more of a sort of questioning, challenging mindset amongst Generation Z?
You know, they grew up where their opinions got likes from a young age. Like nobody gave a crap what you and I thought when we were younger, like if we were allowed to talk. And now they're validated at such a young age that it's like impossible that their boss doesn't care what they think or want or like about the Dolphins. You know, so they just think differently than us. I don't know if it's good or bad. I just know that they're very different, and they will not follow the rules that we created for them, as they shouldn't probably.
Sure. And just touching on, I mean, do you think, obviously there's been a big development of technology and the way that I guess Generation Z, communicate and engage online with social media. Do you see the way social media is developed as affecting the culture of Generation Z? Is it is it easier for them to perhaps?
Well, they live with it every minute of their day since they were born. And we don't even know the psychological effects of that yet. We haven't studied that enough, but their brains work definitely much faster than ours. And they're used to giving opinions and seeing how one thing affects another thing, and one like and one repost can go viral. Like they're very fast. So maybe when things haven't changed for like 15 years in the company that they're working at, they're like, well, why don't we just change it? They don't quite understand why some of us are so slow. Which I don't understand either, because I'm kind of young. Because if you want to survive, you need to be fast. The competition's faster than you. So it's good that they're pushing the companies to go faster, because that will probably save their butts. So we should thank them.
It's actually interesting. Something I read recently about the whole social media thing was saying that people who didn't grow up with social media, perhaps the older generation, have sort of I think social media isn't appropriate for workplace, and younger people who have grown up with social media and they see it, use it all the time, see it's more of a normal thing, can't see why it's not doesn't have a place in the workplace, and there's a bit of a conflict there, that how different views of social media and a lot of these channels, and how they're used. And I think it's I read an interesting article about that, and how that conflict of people who, yeah, have a
Every
averse
generation
effect
has a
of it.
problem with the young people, right? We think those guys are like that and they're doing it wrong, and they think we are. And our grandparents thought our parents did it wrong, and our parents thought our grandparents did it wrong. Plus cultural differences. You just have a whole mess where people go, "Oh, it didn't used to be that way." But that's the whole idea about adaptability. That's the can-do culture that I train. It's like you can say, "I can't do it." Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And so that's the mindset that we need to train the oldies and the newbies in, because it's adapting to the uncertain, to the new. Something could change in your life tomorrow and you could be 99 and you don't even know a Generation Z. So it's the mindset. And the mindset is very clear in business because there's money there. And that's why the focus is there. But this is applicable to everyone. There's 3 steps to adapting better. And that's what I've been training for about 5 years, internationally, thanks to COVID. And it's like it's a aha moment for so many people, because we all have crap and conflict in our days and we don't know how to deal with it, and nobody teaches us. So that's why I'm really excited about this 3 steps. It's good for any age.
Excellent. And what, tell me more. What about these 3 steps? What are they?
Well, thanks for asking. The first step is the L. Am I a reverse or is it this way? Mm-hmm. Do L, make a winner. Listen is the first step. If you can't repeat back to the person what they said, you can't solve the problem.
Sure.
So the listen, once you have listened to the other person, you can repeat it back. You now have to do the painful thing of like, la, 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 accepting what they said, whether you hate it or you love it. It's the reality of the situation. And so many people go, well, it shouldn't be that way, so I'm not going to look at that more. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So wake up, smell the coffee. And then the third step is to build. Like, I got the blue Lego, you got the green Lego. I add a bit, you add a little bit, I add a bit. And you step by step start to fix the problem to collaborate together. And we use the concept of N. Because so many times in life, we're saying, yes, but it shouldn't be that way. Yes, I hear you. I listen to you. I can read back, but not with this company, not with this economy, not with these people, not with myself and my age. And we need to switch the but to end. And end is the word of possibility and collaboration. You can say the exact same sentences. One way is the negative way. We can't do it. The other way is can. So I want to do that, but we don't have the budget. I want to do that, and we don't have the budget. One of them leads to possibilities of finding the budget. The other one just said no in a polite way. So this mindset of changing our butts to our ends is the way that you change slowly, unfortunately, the chip in people's heads of negativity and lack of opportunity.
So in some way, to listen, listen more, set more, and change the buts to ands. So buts are very closed, the same closed opportunity, negative, and the ands open up. Yeah, so that's I think so. You would just, so collaboration is better than competition. I guess collaboration is key, isn't it? Collaboration, looking for it.
Yeah, if you want to compete, you need to collaborate first to get there. I guess that's the irony of it.
I think that's maybe I think there's a wider kind of a wider mindset in I think in culture. I think we perhaps in a, you could always say, not in a capitalist, perhaps nation that certainly in England we are, most of the world, it's competition is seen a way forward for success in business and in life. We have to compete, but actually I think it as we find a lot of people are demonstrating that actually to an extent we have to compete, but actually if there's an opportunity to collaborate, we can still be successful if we collaborate. And just competing is not the only way to succeed in every situation. I suppose is that right? With
anything, you need to collaborate on your teams to compete with the other guys.
Like it. So how do you tailor your training to meet the diverse needs and backgrounds of the the people? Because I know it's easy to group people together and say this group of people are Generation Z, or this people are but obviously people different needs based on a whole variety of factors. Do you find you have to have to tailor your approach? Do you have to really understand the people you work with, the organization or the teams, does it matter if, do you have to get to know them individually, people who are in the training, or does it, what extent?
No, they need to get to know each other intimately that way. I don't. As a trainer, I go in there, we do an adaptability quotient measurement with AI. In 20 minutes, we figure out 15 different components of adaptability intelligence. If these people are going to be able to deal with stress and uncertainty without sweating through their shirts. So essentially, this is a potential finder for the top talent in the Generation Z, so they don't leave the company. So you know what they need to be, what needs to be tweaked, let's say. And then I would design a program for the top people in that company that need those skills. So this is really like a higher end training. It's not for the middle managers, probably, because we use neurofeedback. So neurofeedback tells us exactly what's happening inside of them when they're optimal for learning. And that's, of course, only affordable if you're looking at your top guys and who you need to promote and who you need to not invest 40 grand in training for the next level. If they don't know how to adapt to uncertainty, they can learn it. But a big part of that is character. We know those people who adapt well. They go with the flow. They're like, hey, that's okay. We'll find a solution. They're positive. They have hope. They're ready to learn. They're ready to unlearn. These people have huge potential in the future, regardless of their skills and if they went to the best university. And the other people who are negative, who are fearful, who don't adapt very well, who like their little realities, those people will not thrive in the future. And even if they're a Harvard graduate or Stanford, and HR needs to be able to see who has that potential despite their grades, despite what they look like on paper. And so we do that, and then we choose what program is best for them. Okay. So it's very neuroadaptive.
And do you find that people, I guess, it's easy to attend a training program, and be inspired in the moment, and feel they've learnt things they can implement to make a big difference, but actually when they leave the room, over time, of course, things get forgotten, good intention go out window. I mean, how do you deal with that? I mean, do you have follow-up, or how do you, because obviously the risk is these things that they're long-term things, aren't they? You don't want things change doesn't happen immediately. What sort of
what I specialize in with my program, or with my personality, with whatever I do, is really that like aha moment. So people just need one tipping point for them to go, no longer will I eat 12 cookies at midnight. I will join a gym. That moment is what my trainings are to give to them. If the company is able to do more trainings, God bless them, of course. That's great if they have the budget for unlearning and mental flexibility in their company and finding the new potential leaders, right? Yeah. That doesn't happen in most companies. So I'm a very avid content giver, aka I'm called the crazy blonde who lives on LinkedIn, and that's where you met me, right? So I'm constantly posting ideas with funny stories and with humor on how to see. I always do this. How to see the world from a different perspective. You need to change how you see the world, because the world that you grew up with is not like this anymore. It's at least like this. And so if you follow me on the social media, that's what old people say, on LinkedIn or YouTube, I'm constantly trying to inspire people to shift the way they see the world. Does it work? I don't know. My mom follows me.
Would you say, there's a lot of talk about the why, and I don't know if you know Simon Sinek, who wrote a lot about the why, and if the why has got to be strong enough for people to take action, and if people who are motivated and achieve success because they've got a really strong why, and would you say that, you talk about the aha moment, is that that linked to that, in that sense that if people can see the benefits of taking action, making this change, and they can see why they should do it, and the difference it'll make, then they're more likely to do it. Is that part of getting them to do that, realize the why, realize the benefits? Is that the key?
Yeah. Any good trainer, all my colleagues who work in this field and who have trained me, and I've trained at the very beginning of any kind of training or any kind of a post, even, you address the pain points, right? So I'm constantly trying to get them to see introspectively what else could be possible if, They just shifted a little bit how they see the world.
Sure.
And that's usually enough, because a little shift can change everything. Just switching your yes but to yes and is revolutionary. There's the movie The Yes Man. Have you seen that one?
I
With Jim
have,
Carrey.
yeah, I have, yeah. And
Yeah.
I also read recently Danny Wallace's book, Yes, where he said yes for a year,
Yeah. Oh,
which I
I
think
didn't
the
know
film
that.
might have been based on, but it's a
Oh.
very interesting, yeah, I'd recommend it. It's very interesting. He said yes to everything for a year.
So this is I teach. Most people just say like yes in all the trainings I've done. And we're a group of people that come from the idea of adaptable intelligence, that just saying yes isn't enough. You need to say yes and. Because so many times you can just say to someone, hey, do you want to design a new touchscreen? Yes. Okay. Do you want to work with me on that project with the touch of finger technology? Yes. Do you want to go for lunch? Yes. Do you want to quit? Yes. Yes. Yes doesn't get you anywhere. It's that end, that making the team responsible for the contribution. That's where the teams come alive and their eyes light up. Because yes, you could just get away and the hierarchy doesn't die. Right? A lot of cultures just say yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. We need people to say, yes, sir, and let's do this. That's how like the fire explodes into innovation. And so you need the people, the people need to speak up with their ideas. And that's a mindset shift, because we were told to be kind of quieter, but the young people aren't doing that. So actually I'll have less to train with the younger people than I do with their superiors.
I think it's probably to do, it's linked to, people, if you ask people a closed question where they can only say yes or no, then it doesn't lead anywhere. It's a yes, no. So it says like that. But if you're asking them more of an open thing, which is what the and is the open. So it's like that, open, stimulated debate, discussion, or action.
Yeah.
What with emotional intelligence, does that play a part in what you do? People understand, do people you train, they need to understand or be aware of emotional intelligence?
Well, you'll be surprised to find out that adaptability quotient is one of the 12 emotional intelligences. So when Daniel Goleman wrote that book like 20, 30, 40 years ago, I don't know, I wasn't even alive. He had 12 competencies that you need to have to be emotionally intelligent, at least 5 or 6 of them to be intelligent.
Okay.
And one of these is adaptability. And it didn't get much press because who needed to be adaptable? Life was pretty steady until COVID. And then everything was changing and it became the skill of the future. So McKinsey & Co. has rated adaptability and resilience as the thing that will be more important than hard skills, than soft skills, than your degree from Harvard. Because if you can't deal well when shit hits the fan, you're not good at the company. You have to be able to adapt. And so that is making decisions under stress, being confident, taking the lead. It's like fight, flight. Yeah. You got to fight, because if you just die, you turn into Kodak and you become obsolete, right? You must fight, and you must fight intelligently. Adapt intelligently, let's say.
It's interesting. I read recently about people who adapt to change, and people who struggle with change, and it was saying how change is one of the things we find hardest generally with humans, but people who are more creative, and have a great imagination, and there's a series of tests they did to find out how creative people were, use imagination, could adapt with change easier, because they had less, people who didn't have a good imagination, weren't very creative in their thinking, tend to think of one way of doing things. There's one way. But people who are very creative and use imagination, like storytelling, they can think of lots of different ways of doing things. If one doesn't work, well, there's other ways. I thought it was quite an interesting thought there.
The link between creativity, adaptability, and optimism. I'm not exactly sure. I can't talk about that too much. Sure. I just know that open minds see things that are on the left and the right. Closed minds see ahead. So you're missing whatever angle that is on both sides of opportunities. So whatever you want to call it, it's like take those off that horse's eyes, right? Like see the landscape. Yeah.
Just, I mean, do you, I guess you must be with what you do, always sort of learning, always open to new, new ideas, always, because I guess like anything, people writing books and coming up with new ideas. And I guess, do you find you're always having, learning what,
Uh,
or do to adapt to your training with, or do you find?
I'm, I think I have like this gold thing that the yes and is so powerful. And I've taught it to about 2,500 people in the last 5 years. And 1% had even heard of that concept. And it's just a linguistic term. It's just a linguistic term, but it has huge implications in our life. So I find very fascinating those little things that are quite obvious when you hear it, but that have the power to like change how people think. There's new stuff in neurobiology and the philosophy of like how people learn and how people are, but I think nothing new has been written under the sun. You can have A, B, and C you're good at, D, E, F that you suck at. So we spend a lot of time like, oh, great, you have this, but how do we shift this stuff? And the mindset, I think that we train, my colleagues and I who do the same as it's like we know how to change this. So it's very exciting to just go do the work. We're very action oriented. Like, sure, you do your test, you get your result, get to work. You're this person, you're that person, role play, use the and, forget the but, go for it, walk with presence, speak like you have the confidence, listen to that what person says, repeat it back now, say it back in 15 seconds, in 8 seconds, summarize what they're saying, like very action oriented. Because I think a lot of trainings, we waste a lot of time with PowerPoints talking about theories that ChatGPT could teach you. We have to do what you need to do if we're good trainers, right? Good coaches make you change and feel and live the transformation. So I think there's new theories all the time. And I think get going. We don't have a lot of time. The world is changing so fast.
I think, yeah, you touched on an interesting point about experiential way of learning. I think the old way of someone standing at the front of a room with a PowerPoint, or one person to many, in a classroom format, isn't very effective. And I think that the experiential, where the more involved the people are who are learning, the more research saying the more likely to remember it. The more involved they are, the more interaction, the more engagement. So it's interesting. Yeah, obviously, clearly you can see that, and you agree there, isn't it?
Yeah, we all know it, but it's hard to get people to move literally their bodies and their minds, because we're just used to like watching something with all the social media. You feel like you've learned a lot when you watch, oh, I just watched a documentary on Netflix. Oh, I know a lot more about this. Yeah, but how did it affect your life? Are you kinder when you see a homeless person now? Like, what changed in you? They say we remember things. That's why we fall in love after during traumatic experiences with people, like the Titanic, because those memories are etched into you. And so if you're able to create a very strong sensation in your participants, they will never forget. They will never forget when September 11th happened. No person in North America, especially in North America, will ever forget where they were on the 11th. Yeah. And we don't have any of that terrorism in any of my workshops, but we try and up the level to like Tony Robbins energy, so that you are in it, you're almost crying, you're cheering with your team, and then you're introspecting about what did I just do and how does this apply to my life. That's when something's going to stick. And unfortunately, there's only a couple of those every workshop, because, well, humans, we're kind of stuck in our old ways.
I think, yeah, certainly Tony Robbins is the leading example of someone who does experiential ways of teaching people. He used every experiential technique, and I think when whether you're a fan or for Tony Robbins or not, he obviously understands the techniques of getting people involved in learning. I mean, nowadays I think we're bombarded with information, certainly on social media. I think someone said that we scroll the height of the Eiffel Tower on social media on our phones every day, and we scroll past 80% of content we see. We're not even aware of it because we just scroll past. And I think and how many hours we all spend on our phone average. So I guess would you say that, I mean, Yeah, I heard a nice quote actually. It's not the weapons of mass destruction we need to fear. It's now weapons of mass distraction. You know, it's getting people. You know, it's hard to get people's attention, hook them, and get them to remember things. Do you any? I mean, do you have any thoughts on this? You know, the fact that we are. Think of younger people, generations. I think they're bombarded with content and trying to get them to remember the important bits. Is a challenge.
So, pop quiz. What is every person's favorite word?
Is it their name? No. Is it
Yes, their name. There you go.
Yeah.
You got it. 2 points for you. So if you are clearly speaking to your audience, they will recognize their name. And I think that's the key in all social media. If you know my pain points, why wouldn't I listen to you? If all the other people aren't talking to me and I can't feel them talking to me, I'm not going to pay attention. So I think it's about business to business person. It's about niche, right? Like I help women do something that AI can't. I help women to be themselves in a world where they're taught to doubt themselves and to speak up their needs and their wants. AI can't teach you that. YouTube can't teach you that because they don't know who you are. So it's really being brave enough to say, like, this is what I specialize in. This is what I know. The other stuff, call my friends. They know it better than me. Like humility and like high confidence in the one thing you know really well. And for me, that's the adaptability mindset that like, I just love and I know really well and I know how it like can shift people. And all the rest of the stuff, all my colleagues can do any of the other, the millions of topics that we need to improve on.
It's great. I mean, they're into get off topic here, but I think definitely as a copywriter, this is something I'm aware of. That we need to personalize content wherever possible, so that when someone sees something, they think, "What? That's talking to me." That's what's written is talking exactly to me and my problem. And they say, the saying, the riches are in the niches. It's of course most things. Well, if you're an accountant, there's 1,000 other accountants. If you're a coach, there's 1,000 coaches. So in everything you do, every job, there's going to be 1,000 people doing it. So I guess it is about being crystal clear. What you do, and it's better the more you can differentiate yourself, specialize, so that when you talk to your target market, you're giving the right message to the right people, I guess, effectively. And that's an element of it, I think. So one thing I wanted to ask was, personally, how do you how do you stay motivated? That's what's one quick, just a quick fire question. Do you
I have to think about my goals constantly. I think I do like what I've had tons of coaches, lovely humans that have helped me figure out how I want my life to look. Because I didn't start building my life until I was like 35. Because I spent my life traveling the world with a backpack trying to fix my back pain. So at 35, my back was feeling great, and I moved to Barcelona. And then I had to start like being like, oh, what I want to do with this world that I've just created. And I think it's like always just thinking about like, what is it going to be in 3 years? Oh yeah, I'm going to look like this. I'm going to have a community like this. I'm going to wear this. I'm going to eat this. I'm going to be this thin. I always struggle with weight. So for me, it's kind of like, am I doing well when I'm taking care of my health? And I always have to remember, when I'm older, what do I want to have? So I draw it on boards. I journal it. I write affirmations. I do all the hippy dippy stuff that any good Barcelonian who lived in India does. And whenever I feel down, I talk to my boyfriend, which he's like my coach guru. And he always just reminds me of what our lives will be like in a couple of years. So any good trainer will say, always focus on the goal. Get over the conflict, get back to the goal. And so I think paranormalizes that too. Imagine yourself thinner, surfing on the beach with a smoothie, and then go do some Zumba or stupid yoga, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, great points there, which I think would be a value, value to most people. I mean, I think having clear goals, perhaps having a clear plan, being clear on what your why is, what's your reason for doing things. And I think also, you mentioned your boyfriend, perhaps having a support network, having someone who can hold you accountable. And I think some businesses, we have coaches, sometimes it can be a partner, but I think it's good having the right people around you. So yeah, I can resonate with those.
It's a good summary. Support, focus on the goal. Yeah, it is pretty simple, actually. Just emotions get in the way and the emotions get us sidetracked. So being able to manage your emotions, I'd say, is probably the most important ability of all humanity. And yet
Sure.
we're not really taught how to do that. We're taught to like smoke and drink away our pain, and then the pain's there tomorrow. And we
Sure.
have a whole society of people who aren't doing what they want to do and are using a lot of substances. And we're not getting to a life where we're all kind of getting along because we're lost in this like unresolved child. This is the therapist in me, the unresolved like childhood stuff. And the like, how do I deal with my anger? How do I not punch that guy in the subway? How do I grow my business when I can't even maintain my diet? Like all this stuff really distracts us from the end goal. So I'd say figure this out and have a plan. Talking to myself.
It's true. I mean, I think one thing I know is yeah, but the challenges don't go away, and however much technology changes or like different developments take place with AI, actually the fundamental day-to-day things that irritate us, challenge us, effectively, they're the same things. Often it's pressures of deadlines, it's the commute to work, it's annoying habits from other people. It's often those things. It's often the things that the day-to-day things that have always challenged us or frustrated us. So we have to work out how we can deal with those things.
Imagine if like 90% of our performance problems at work are actually because of our normal day-to-day lack of emotional control with annoying things in our lives. That's fascinating to think. Like, it's not that I'm not actually good at my job, it's because I can't manage my anger, and I don't know how to manage my time better, and I don't know how to read the emotions of my children. If those things improved, I'd be better at work. But we don't see it holistically. But this kind of training with unlearning and mental flexibility and adaptability, it actually really goes beyond the office. It goes into your normal life. So I think it's really beautiful, actually. I usually go into work and to the trainings thinking your wife's going to thank me. Like, it's my secret little thing that I know I'm helping families, have happier relationships. So it's pretty.
I guess, yeah, that's an interesting point there, but of a knock-on impact of things, because if you improve say employee relations, employee well-being in an organization, then you're helping the organization because they'll have higher productivity, less staff turnover, and then by you're helping the employees because they'll have more job satisfaction, well-being at work, and then they're more likely to be happier outside work, so better relations, their family. So I guess it's everything in life has a possible ripple effect, and good or bad, I suppose, in yours.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd say, like, if so many of our problems are related to one another and the lack of our ability to deal with life, then if we taught our children and our Gen Zs how to deal with life and emotions and frustrations and disappointment and uncertainty better, theoretically, they'll grow up to be happier than our generation is. So I think if it's just a mindset of how to deal with problems, it's not a hopeless future. It's very trainable if we understand that it's trainable, that it's not just genetics or the world's going to crap. It's like, no, we can grow hope in people. We can teach them how to unlearn. We can teach them mental agility. We can do that. And we have the 3 steps for the mental flexibility. I'm sure there's ways to train hope. Right?
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I mean, this is something that fascinates me. And I could talk for hours, Jessica. I love this sort of topic. A bit of anything to do with sort of understanding behavior and psychology in this way, and it fascinates me. But I think we have to wrap it up. Do you want to? Is there any final tips you want to share, or Matt? Perhaps we can just repeat the ones you gave earlier, the 3-step one. So it was listen,
accept,
listen,
Lego it up, build,
listen more. Listen more active listening, proper, genuine, open listening. Accept other people's behavior around you. And then the last one was change from closed but to and, more collaboration, more open.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, that yes, comes to the end of the interview. I will share Jessica's details below the video. But Jessica, if people want to reach you, do you want to share the best way? Do you have a web call you?
Call me, what's up, or come visit me in Barcelona, or go to www.mynamejessicabrenfeld.com and we can do a discovery call. If you think any of this has sparked any kind of hope in you that things can get better, because I wholeheartedly believe it can, and it's not even that hard. It's just 3 steps and a little bit of repetition, but that's on you.
Excellent. Well, they'd say the first step's hardest. So maybe the first step will be to get in touch with Jessica.
So easy.
So easy. Okay, so thank you, Jessica. Yes, do subscribe to Secret Influence TV. I've got more interviews with other experts in the field, sharing their expertise and knowledge to help you be more successful in your personal life and business life, and people who share their powerful stories to inspire you.